Hello PUBG fans, and welcome back to day 2 of the GLL Grand Slam here in Stockholm, Sweden. Yesterday, we saw teams from the European region claim the first 2 matches of the day. But then North America swept the next 4 matches, 2 of those going to the Rumblers. Will today be the day that a Latin American or Oceanic team steps to the forefront? Or will Liquid continue to hold on to the top spot by prioritizing kills over placements? All this remains to be seen today. I'm your host, Rachel Querico, and I welcome you back to the GLL Grand Slam.
That was hot.
Hello, everybody. What an introduction. We have Pyrotechnics, we've got Rachel killing it, and again, welcome back to our desk up top here. My name is Parla. I'm your desk host. I'm still joined by Steve and Patrick. Good to see you back on day 2. I know you guys are ready. Do you think the teams are?
They have to be ready. Like the time has passed where they can adjust or prepare or hope to learn the other teams. It's crunch time, and they got to come out banging in game 1 or game 2.
I talked with most of the teams today, and most of them felt really, really ready for today. I mean, some of them have a little bit more to work on since they didn't do too good yesterday, but hey, they're looking good.
Indeed, but before we get into day 2 proper, let's take a look at a recap of day 1.
Before I can see down on the opposing side. What? He's in headshot. Wolf.
Oh, just upper bar sprays down. Not move forward. You want that get past goal. Look at that spray from Jemsy. This guy's a beast. What? No.
Oh no, Iggy down. Punches him to death.
Gonna force all these boys back, and they ain't safe just yet. And Uber, oh my word, Uber, you absolute animal.
Hospital is going off everywhere right now. Absolutely mental as Jeeves has to keep
The Rumblers emerge.
I'm ready to frag in the next 2 days, and I feel like we're going to do really well.
The nades will find you.
What just happened? If that's to happen in day 1, we don't know what could happen. This could be a wide open tournament.
Epic scenes from day 1. We really had a good time yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, we had a great time. I think it was back and forth. The fans got everything that they could have wanted. A big start for EU, a big finish for North America, a huge, a surprise, I guess I should say, for some of us who thought OCE was maybe a little overrated because that their scene was easier, but those Athletico guys came out, they're in 5th place, and they have been playing exactly the way their region expected them to. So I think good for everyone.
You still don't want to sleep on the Gnome. A lot of those teams are still away.
Oh, yeah.
They're really close, and I mean, they can bring up some big stuff today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Patrick, it feels like one of the main talking points for us has been that all regions have really come out and repped where they're from. So every region has had some decent showings. Now let's get up the tournament format, the schedule, and all of that good stuff. You can see that we are today, Saturday, 20th of July. We've already had the GLL showdown for today, leading us into the Grand Slam right now, day 2. And then we'll have our after show parlors final circle at around 10 p.m. $300,000 on the line as well. Do not forget that. This is the schedule for day 2. It differs to day 1 because we start on Erangel. The first half of the day is played out there, and in the second half, the final 3 matches will be played on Miramar. Now, let's take a look at those standings after day 1. Just as Rachel said on stage, it's Team Liquid that sit at the top with 59 points. Rumblers representing NA in 2nd, and Na'Vi, who started off day 1 strongly, then didn't have much to say until they had a good finish at the end, stay in 3rd, then Spacestation 4th, Athletico in 5th. It's interesting to see how everything settled when all was said and done on day one.
Yeah, I mean, we end up with like 4 NA teams break into the top 10. A lot of the EU teams are up there as well. But for me, the big takeaway from day one is even the teams in the top right now had bad games. Liquid had a 16th place finish. Rumblers really screwed the pooch there on the first 2 games of the day. All of those top teams struggled. And what that means is that anybody on the board right now can come out, can play aggressively, can make up some points and say, you know what? We're sort of all on the even playing field. I mean, yesterday, before that 5th game, Ghost was really in the doghouse and had one massive game and bumped themselves up into, I think, the top 8 right now. So it's totally open.
Yeah, it wasn't just Ghost itself. You had Rumblers as well,
Yeah.
and then Spacestation Gaming. All those 3 teams, they got bumped up from just one game itself. One win with a few kills, decent amount, and I mean, you're up there.
Yeah.
And right now, we have 2 teams on the top 7 that doesn't have any wins, though. FaZe Clan and Athletico. And I'm looking forward to see them play today because I want to see them come in with a win. Right now, they're doing a really good job with getting those kill points. They're killing a lot of people, but they're not closing down the games.
Yeah, it feels as though the consistency of Athletico has sort of helped them still be in good position without having to get any wins, Steve.
I mean, it's like they've been consistently sort of 4th and 5th place. They're sitting in 5th place, and that's fine. Sure, maybe that sets you up for the chance to make a big push, but at some point, you have to make the push. We all know that there's only one chicken dinner. We've played this game. We've been in the final circle, and sure, you and the guys are happy that you made it to that point where it says 4 teams left, right? But that's not a win. That's just the moment when the intensity kicks in and the adrenaline starts pumping. So my question is for a team like Athletico, with 2 players who have never really been at a LAN before, that adrenaline's got to be pumping now. Can they push forward? Can they get the chicken dinner?
I mean, it also comes down to how you want to play the game. Some teams want to chase towards the top. Some teams like to be on the top and get chased by the other teams. Now, Athletico, they're known to be one of the dominators of their region, so they're always on the top getting chased by people. Right now, they are chasing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that they also talked about in their league, they were 200 points ahead of their competitors. They felt like they could do 1-1-1 splits, which is absolutely unheard of in the pro circuit, because they were so confident in their skill that they were like, we can take any squad 1v4, basically. Very different here, but I've been impressed specifically with Luke 12. This guy has been absolutely on fire. He was a massive leader inside the region, and then he's come here and he's lifted his team onto his shoulders, and with the help of Extreme and the rest of the guys, really carried them, and I think he's only going to get better as he gets more comfortable up there on the big stage.
Yeah, we've seen Luke, I think it was top kills, right, for most of the day, and he's really done a good job of making sure Athletico are in the running. Either way, everybody, we are almost ready to get our first match of the day underway here at day 2. But first, we will head to a short break.
Everybody stays on, no one on my team is ever thinking of the days off. I do it when God willing. Furthermore, I want the whole team chilling. It's a graph that they don't see. I know that I won't be here to be sad at the end. That we can do it for real right here, no pretending. When I'm kicking the ball like Beckham is bending. Whatever the weather, I keep it together. I keep getting better, and nobody on this planet can tell me otherwise. Open up your eyes, you better recognize. I'll be set on the stage, ready to go. The way that I know you don't know me, I'm the winner. Expert in the game, can't mean I'm no beginner. I'm a win. I'll be set on the stage, ready to go. The way that I know.
Yep, everybody, don't forget about that upcoming PUBG Nations Cup. The best performing region from here at the GLL Grand Slam PUBG Classic will actually secure their region an extra slot at that tournament, Stephen Patrick. So exciting stuff, not just $300,000 on the line. Either way, let's get into some more analysis of this first match. How is it going to be different today starting on Erangel compared to yesterday starting on Miramar?
Well, I mean, I think that you brought up a little bit of a good point here, this idea of the extra slot at the Global Championships, right? It's the same thing that happened in London. Liquid had to almost sort of consider what's best for us and what's best for the region and made a couple of changes there to make sure that that extra slot was there. So we might see some teams sort of considering that. But I also think it's time for the teams on the bottom. Cloud9 had 15 points, I think, after yesterday. yesterday?
11.
11. Okay, so I was trying to help a little bit. Oops. That said, though, there's nothing to lose anymore. Yesterday, you talked about Game 5. They kind of wanted to shore it up a little bit and then buy time to go home and make changes. At this point, if you're at 11, you've got to come out blazing, looking for crazy amounts of kills. Maybe go back to your original spot and try to earn it. I don't know. What do you do if you're in that spot?
I mean, in that spot, they got to do something at least. They got to change everything up, I'd say. Anything they did yesterday did not work out. And we've seen them being just behind Tempo Storm all the time. In MPL, coming in to face the Global Summit as well, one step behind Tempo Storm. Right now, they're a few steps behind them, and Tempo is not doing too good either. They had a really good placement games yesterday, but there was no kills to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can roll that into other groups. Incognito, Hell Yeah Brother, SNG, Knights, all of these guys are really below that bar. I think you need to be 30+ right now to feel like you still have a good shot. And I think those teams have maybe 1 or 2 games. Good news for them, we're starting on a wrangle, where they have to put up a huge number 1, to get themselves over that 30-point mark to really make it a playable weekend for them. Other than that, they're just salvaging.
And since we're talking about points and the leaderboard, let's get it up on screen once again so you can see, for reference, what the guys are talking about. Yeah, Cloud9 with just 9 kills with 11 points there. Then we've got Singularity from Latin America, HYB from Oceania, Incognito. What about teams like Pittsburgh Knights? And I mean, Pittsburgh Knights are in an interesting position there with 23 points. At this stage, still in contention if they start having some good results today, but I feel like anyone from 16 to 11, you need to have a very, very strong day 2 now.
Yes, I mean, so you sort of base it off of the highest score, right? So Na'Vi has proven that you can get up to 24 points in a game in this tournament. So that does mean that it's still wide open for a lot of these teams to get that push. The question is, do you have the skill quotient that Na'Vi did to sort of put up those numbers? That said, Na'Vi played 3 really terrible games and are still managing to be in 3rd place.
Exactly, and you have teams like Bitloft and Red Canids yesterday who got a 2nd place, both of them, with 11 kills each. Now, that's going to boost you up a lot on the leaderboard itself, but you want to have more of those games, not just highs and lows. You want to be consistent and consistently getting good points. Let's say you rack up around 6 points per game. You're going to be on first 6 right now. That would be really nice.
Honestly,
for trying to get some Instagram followers there. ADOU.
You gotta respect it. You gotta respect the hustle.
Oh, another one.
Now you're just jumping in on his cool idea. But I think for me, the story of the tournament, or day 1 so far, Paula, hasn't been these guys having to catch up. It's been that the top teams on that leaderboard have left the door wide open. At this stage in a lot of tournaments, there's at least 1 or 2 teams that have started to really shut the door, say, listen, we are the best. The other teams can start to feel that they're in that rhythm and that slide. That's not happening here. Even the top teams are having a lot more bad games than I'm used to seeing. So I don't know if that is the field is far more competitive or if it's the top teams who
guys,
let go.
just quickly, look at Porosaurus giving Godspeed. Little
so like Poro.
Massage there. Getting him ready, getting him loose.
Right now we're on day 2 out of 3 days. Now, first day, you feel the teams, you want to feel them, know what they're doing and so on. Today is the most important day for all of them. Because today is how you set yourself up. You got home yesterday, you could do some VOD reviews, you can check out what the teams actually did, and today it's all about setting yourself up for tomorrow, how you want to play the game.
It seems like day 2 is the opportunity to either substantiate your lead or claw your way back in.
It's also the last day where things make sense, right? Because today everyone's still going to sort of play their game with some changes, but tomorrow the teams on the bottom are just going to kind of go a little bit haywire, do some way outside the box things. So if you're a team in the middle of the pack or even the top, you want to lock up points today when things still make sense. Because when chaos breaks out in PUBG, that's when sort of the wheels come off, right? That's when the unexpected happens. You'll see bridge camping from the teams on the bottom. You'll see out rotations. You'll see blocks and traps. So you want to get away from that today and make it so that nobody's interested in messing with you tomorrow.
I mean, let's be honest. Even if you're not going to be winning, it's still all about being top 8. Top 8 is who's going to go home with some money in their pockets.
And the regional pride of the thing, right? I can guarantee that HYB and Incognito aren't happy where they're at, right? It's just confirming biases about the region. They want to finish in the top 10, not even for the money, but to say, listen, we're a top 10 team, respect our region more. It's not just about Athletico. So I think for some of these teams, there's also a huge pride quotient on the line.
Oh, definitely. But, I mean, they can all do something about it. One win is all they need right now, and they're going to bounce back up there. They're going to be top 5.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, guys, for your words and thoughts. Now, the other day, I went to the lake with all of the teams. We went on 2 separate days. And at one point, I was asked to do a bus tour. You know, of course, something that I'm completely comfortable with. So why don't we see how that went?
Hi. Hi. Welcome to GLL's Stockholm bus tour, hosted by myself and Toby. Hello. How are we all doing today? Yes. Okay, so as you can see right now, we're on a motorway. That brown building, I'm going to assume, is some sort of church. It's currently 19 degrees outside, and it's 12:24 in the afternoon. How's everybody doing at the back of the bus? You're the cool kids, right? Did you guys sit there on purpose to, like, increase your street cred? Thank you very much, everybody. Those were the national anthems of it was Brazil, Argentina, Australia. Here's the palace, by the way, where the royal family live. Sometimes nature just blows you away.
You know, in Hawaii, they have cows in the zoo.
Sorry?
On Hawaii, they have cows in the zoo.
You hear that, guys? In Hawaii, they have cows in the zoo. All right, everybody, we're now entering Tapstromspron. Here we go, everybody. I'd just like to say a big warm welcome to all of you here at the GLL Grand Slam PUBG Classic. We wish you the best of luck. My name is Paula.
My name is Toby.
And welcome to Young Frusen's Skag Start. Have a good day. Thank you to the one person that returned those thanks to me.
Oh, what's this? Okay, we've got a little bit of graph work going on. Aim.
Hold on. I need
aim
to,
gets better. Well, what's on the bottom? Yes, they say. Okay, I see.
I get it.
I gotta ask, tough is this?
No, there's no cows in the zoo in Hawaii.
Are you sure?
Yeah, there's up to 5 zoos there, and I've been to most of them. And we've got water buffalo and bison, and maybe to him they're all the same thing, but definitely we don't have grazing cattle in the zoo in Hawaii. But hey, I'm not bitter about your inability to know about my homeland, but whatever. Let's jump into this.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I've really enjoyed doing that bus tour. It's one of the highlights of my career. And I'm happy that I shared that experience with the players. Well, some of the players on stage, half of them. Anyway, let's focus in on the team that we just saw with their little graph work on screen, G2.
Yeah, let's jump into G2. I think that, well, it's been a rough road for them so far. They're not going to be happy with where they are, right, Frost?
I wouldn't say they're not happy at all, honestly.
Really?
It's their first big international event like this, and they're playing pretty decently, I'd say, still. They're currently sitting on an 8th place with 37 points, and it's not too bad.
Yeah, but I mean, Chris was the top fragger in PEL, and he's not even popping up on our kill list right now. I think that they've been off their game, and maybe it's what he said. Maybe it's the aim.
No, but you gotta always also understand that they're more comfortable playing at PEL, of course. They're playing so many games. That's kind of the environment you're used to now. Now, coming over here, it's a totally different environment. I'm not just talking about what you see here, where they're sitting, the setup itself, but it's also how you live, spending your time outside of this place here. What food are you eating? What bed are you sleeping? I mean, stuff like that does affect you overall.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between a pro and an amateur is the ability to adjust, make do, and thrive no matter the environment, right? And these guys need to do that. Day one is behind them. 8th place is unacceptable, in my opinion. They need to step up and come to be the team that I know they can be. They're uncontested. They're dropping on Country Road right now. They've got bookend teams in Milta and sort of where Na'Vi is because Bitloft bounced. They have plenty of time to loot. They have good rotation options out of there. When you look back at PEL, they were averaging over 7 points per game on both maps. They're far below that number right now, and that's why I think it's unacceptable. I love the guys. It is their first LAN, but I know they can perform, and I need to see some G2 interviews up on that main stage.
Well, Patrick, do you want to see more out of Chris in terms of, because just going back to your points, you want to see him going for more fights and trying to have those same performances that you've seen from him when he's in a different environment?
I'd love to hear what he has to say about this.
I want to see a Sweatpants interview. I want to get him up there. I want to hear what he has to say about these things. And I expect, like I said, we expect more big things from them. I think they'll pick it up. It is their first one, right? So day one, I can chalk that up to LAN jitters a little bit, say maybe they're getting comfortable here for the first time, but the chance to learn is gone. They got lucky that teams like Na'Vi have had bad days, that Liquid's got a 16, and that the top of the bracket is still open, and they need to really capitalize on that and put up some big numbers early on.
I mean, talking with Chris earlier, he was a little bit concerned yesterday how the teams were actually playing the game. Not their team, but the other teams.
Okay, in what sense? Did he explain that point? Is it, were there surprising things happening, things they didn't
it was a little bit of random what the other teams were doing, he said. So they weren't really prepared. They felt like, wait, why do they drop here and not here and stuff? Just small stuff like that, but that gets you off guard and off your game itself, and then you have to adapt on the fly itself, and sometimes it's just you're not fast enough. But hopefully they'll be ready today for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm more in line with what Patrick said with regards to where they are on the leaderboard. They didn't have like a storming day one, but at some points, especially in the earlier games, they had some good engagements, and they've got some solid points, being in the high 30s, I think, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, they're, like I said, they're in a good position. I think that they will tell you that they're underperforming where they want to be, and I stand by that. Now, things have changed. We have at least 4 teams that are completely off their normal drops that have gone somewhere else. And what that means is a lot of the planning that these teams may have brought with them in terms of their rotations or their holds or where they're going to is no longer valid, right? They had to go back and say, all right, well, we thought Bitloft was dropping over by Na'Vi, but now they're all the way over on the West Coast. How does that affect rotations into South Georgia or past it? You know what I mean? So I think that's some stuff that we had to keep.
Very serious expression on the stage right now. Not entirely sure if that was intentional or not, Patrick.
Well, it's Extreme. He's always like that.
Extreme's just looking like he's ready to face death.
The thing about Extreme is only happy when he's in the game, right? I will say this about Extreme. He is one of the players that I have met in my time in sort of the pro scene that loves nothing more than playing pubs, dropping constantly, like getting him away, like time away from PUBG and the computer is frustrating for him. So he lives to play.
I mean, he's also back in his own region, OC, playing with old teammates. Soymate and Luke, they used to play together in Greyhound before this, before Extreme actually went to MPL for a while. But now he's back home, old teammates, everything feeling good. He's feeling good.
Yeah.
He just needs to frag out a little bit more.
It seems like a lot of our coaches are actually moonlighting as massage therapists as well. I can see we've got that going on stage again. I think everyone's getting loose and ready for the game.
I mean, at the end of the day, at this stage, a coach's job is 90% done behind the scenes, right? These guys are watching from the backstage. They're coming up with strategies. When Jabroni gets up to this point where he's standing on the stage with the boys, it's basically to give McCoy a big hug, make him feel confident, say, I know that you're the fragger that I believe in.
Don't forget the screenshots.
Best luck. Get your Instagram up, mate. Your Instagram. Yeah.
No, but talking with Ghost earlier as well, I mean, they felt really comfortable coming out with that win yesterday. The last game, they won the game with 12 kills. That's huge. They want to continue with that momentum.
Exactly.
Because we continue on Erangel as well.
Yeah, that's the way you want to end day one. Even if you didn't have a great middle portion of that day, finishing on a massive game with a bunch of kills, and then also playing that next map at the start of day 2. Just as Patrick's saying, Steve, I think is very important.
It's good for the headspace, right? I mean, if you play on a team that may or may not, you know, traditionally has some communication issues or some social problems. I mean, remember, these guys live, eat, sleep, breathe together in these pro leagues. Not everyone's meant to get along.
Profi, how you feeling, buddy?
finishing with a win guarantees that your team has time to go home, that they want to get better. I'm going to assume that Profi, they're feeling good, but I think that these guys aren't happy. I know that they're not happy with where they are, and they've been working on fixes. But the question is there enough time? You know, is that social aspect going to work in their favor?
I mean, I don't care what the problem is right now. You just need to reset your mind.
Power through it.
The mindset needs to be blank right now if you're them. You need to start over, think this is the start of the tournament, and just start playing your game, because we know that you're way better than this. They're not a bottom team here.
They're not a bottom team. They're considered one of the top teams in the world, and people thought they would perform when they got here. It's been a struggle, and honestly, I don't know the roots of it. It's one of those things that there's always often things going on behind that can cause an issue, and the problem is pushing past that. Your job is to perform when you get here. When those wheels touch the tarmac, it's go time. You train, you wake up, you play, and you do your best. And I think right now C9 isn't, but we just saw the Rumblers, who is a team that I think is. They had 2 bad games. They kept their heads about them. They group rallied after each match. They talked with their coach. And, you know, I talked to their captain, and Gospi said, you know what, we accept we had bad games. We say to each, like, the games were bad. How do we recover? How do we bounce back? One step, one game, one punch, one win at a time. And that's how they approach it, and I think that's what you have to do with these.
Well, guys, rather than yesterday where I asked you for predictions about the first match. For the first match of today, I'd love you to end our segment now before we head over to our casters by telling me which teams we should look out for over the course of today. I'm going to be looking at some of the bottom-tiered teams. Currently, I'd like to see Tempo Storm make a rise. I'm also going to keep an eye on if G2 can continue rising up. And then, of course, I want to see if Liquid can substantiate that #1 spot even more.
I'm going to give you...
Patrick, please, go ahead, if you'd like to jump in first.
I'm going to give you 2 names. All right. Athletico and FaZe Clan. Those 2 teams, as I said yesterday, they were playing very good. They had a lot of kills. Just couldn't close down the games, and hopefully we'll see it happening right here.
I think Ghost Gaming is going to be one to keep an eye on. They had a very slow start yesterday, but you could feel things clicking into place as they went along. And also, I do believe that FaZe is going to be another one that's sort of middle pack right now, but it's just been waiting for the right moment. They transferred from Milta. We didn't get any circles down on Milta Power yesterday, so they are waiting for their chance to sort of get that circle and get that big win.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Great to see you again today. Everybody, we are about to kick off GLL Grand Slam PUBG Classic Day 2. I'm sure that all the teams are ready to deliver some unforgettable action. For now, let's head over to our casters.
Thank you, and what a way to start this one off. I think it's kind of highlighted everything we were thinking about from yesterday, bringing it into today, but I think the main thing for me is there's more games to play. Yes, there's another day after this, but by that point, more often than not, today is the one that decides that top 3. You start looking at the end of today going, all right, how much room practically can there be? And I think these teams know that now. This is pressure day.
There is a certain point to that where you could say, this happened to the Rumblers. After 2 games, they literally had 0 points. They then go away and end the day somehow in 2nd position. They pull it out of the bag with 2 wins in a 3rd position on Erangel. I mean, after we left yesterday, it seemed to be just EU all over the place. They were top fragging, they were doing super well on Miramar, and then NA just turned on. NA turned up on Erangel, and here we are. We have currently, out of the 4 teams in the top 4, it's EU, NA, CIS, NA. PEL and MPL at the moment. I will say this though, rather unexpectedly, we talked about it on the desk, NPL is in 16th. How in the world does Cloud9 only have 11 points with 9 kills?
Yeah, you'd have one or the other, wouldn't you? Like, I'm being quite critical towards FaZe just purely because, you know, I have a high expectation towards these guys. They've been one of the biggest teams, biggest legacies throughout this game, who had phenomenal results, went into those PEL situations and managed to do very well for themselves. And I kind of wanted to see more of that here coming into this tournament. But we know there is a FaZe Sunday. We all know about it. Don't worry, it could still happen. But for me, I just wanted to see a little bit more from them throughout these opening games.
On the kill side of things, they're actually top fragging. They're joint top on 33 with Liquid, you know? It's not as if they're not finding the frags, they're not finding the faces of enemies and opponents. But Toffees did allude to it ever so slightly. Circles, not the most favorable of things to them in the world yesterday, but again, it's not about that. To perform at the very top of the table.
You can't just sit there and blame that anymore.
No, you can't rely on Circles going your way and just feeding you these placement points. You have to work for them, you have to get to those zones, you have to control them, take control, and fight for what's rightfully yours. We'll see how it does unfold. Again, day number 2, kicking it off with Erangel. This time, 3 games back to back to back. The playing path, I'm seeing it. You guys will be seeing it any second. We're starting off just above Saverne and ending over Primoz. So a very Western shift will begin on day number 2.
Last couple of seconds, it is game time, and look how gorgeous that stage looks. The players honored to be stepping on it, and we're honored to be seeing the caliber of game they're about to bring. So just to the west of Saverne, the plane will be heading south with a western sort of approach to it, which means teams out towards the east, your Milta Power teams, anyone near Lipovka, Prison, are gonna have to stretch. It will slow them down. It might be time to consider backup drops, but it's a hard situation. You don't know the terrain, the teams around you. You can't depend on that. But it is go time. We'll see how those teams out in the east will suffer because of this plane path.
You will start to see adjustments already. The Knights, this is the backup location. They'll be heading up towards just on the north side of Georgia. Paul may be belting it around Zaki. They could come further afield, but Incognito will be there knocking at the door. They have to be careful. I'm looking towards FaZe Clan. We see it in PEL. They do tend to move more towards Sosnovka, but this time they'll have an enemy. They've actually readjusted. I like this. So G2, they'll go more down to the island. There is potential to grab the vehicles and get up past the farm.
Look at them swiveling around. You can see it on the map.
They have to be aware of it, and I like this because both of these teams have been very aware and very proactive, and this is where you need your coach to do the homework. See where the not only the main drops of the teams are, but where there's potential to meet them if they don't have a home position. If this circle goes east, Lauren, we are in for a wild ride. Boom.
Oh my God.
G2. So we potential here that Na'Vi could gatekeep. We'll see several teams that may potentially have to go quicker.
Well, look, we've had word. We have a little bit of an update from the guys from G2. Let's see what they had to say. I think it's Urdir, if I'm not mistaken, and they're in prime position for this game.
So before the games, we focus by drinking coffee, eating bananas, or singing Christmas songs. But like to get really hyped up, motivation, we do this.
1, 2, 3. Keep fighting!
Germans. It's an interesting time.
It's an interesting storyline that's been set before us.
God.
We have a lot of teams that are up in the north.
Oh my God.
SSG,
Yeah, let's just look at that
Knights,
circle, Rich.
Ghost Gaming. You're all on the northern edge of the map for the simple fact that the plane wasn't massively favorable towards you. Bitloft going slightly early. We know this is home territory for them, but they have to share it with Na'Vi.
Na'Vi, yeah.
Kind of stops them going deeper into those cliff yellows and maybe towards the petrol station. G2 have set up shop where Liquid tend to go. We see this in PEL. Liquid cross the bridge. 2 scenarios here. 1, where do FaZe make an entry point? 2,
wait, Liquid are going.
Liquid lose players.
They're going
early.
now.
So
this is so early, even for them.
Na'Vi never does this. Na'Vi never bridge camps them.
They do not bridge camp, but
so they're
G2,
clear.
Rich.
But now they have to deal with G2.
Yeah, but did G2 set up on this? Look at their positioning right now. They're pushing up towards the bridge.
They'd be ready to collect FaZe Clan here, so I think they avoid this one. Oh.
But they're setting up on this, Rich.
Oh no.
Okay, here we go. Right, so Team Liquid.
Is that a warning though, Lauren? To put a UAS there, is that a warning?
I don't know. Can we just go on board with James? I want to see whoever's going to be going first with this because I'd love to see how he responds to seeing that there. Because you know that's not a spawn. Everyone knows that is not a default spawn. Let's see how Liquid respond to this because G2 are further back. They are not up by that car, but it might just buy time. It might allow them more time to loot. It might slow down the teams on the bridge. This could be a nice theory piece. Let's see if James adjusts, changes course. He's going to be using the cars for cover. This is a lovely cinematic shot, but I want to be looking behind us. I love you, observers, but let's get on board with it. They're going straight past. It looks like they've just committed. They've gone straight past this. So either they're aware of it, they've seen it in practice, or they simply do not care, but they might have to because G2 are not far, but I know Liquid's routes. They head towards that kind of western side. When you come over, you head up over the hills, and they'll take the back houses. They ignored a car.
I'm really intrigued to what the ideology is to put a UAZ there.
For me,
because I don't know.
For me, you're slowing down potential rotations. It gives you more time to get some loot in.
You could put it to one side of the bridge to try and bottleneck them into a certain gap, but you'd have to be ready and waiting for them with a gun.
I don't think you have to. It's for me, it's like
they've made it regardless.
Yeah. Now, Liquid do Liquid things. I mean, if you put it in front of a lesser team, they're going to sit there and maybe take 10, 20, 30 seconds, peeking that, checking the dumpster, going over and over and over. I think for me, that is just a really nice little set piece from them, or a nice theory crafted piece of buying a bit more time to be able to loot, step back up here, get a couple more seconds, because there could be early rotations. I hope we get to hear from them after and find out what that sort of plan was.
Biggest surprise from me, I've just seen FaZe Clan, they've already made landfall. They haven't taken the backside of Sosnovka, gone deep south. They decided to move in on the western embankment. Yes, you'll get a little compound. Yes, you'll be able to upgrade any loot. I mean, Prim's usually pretty kind to you. You can get plenty of gear, especially out of those back warehouses that are just on the coastline. But they've made landfall early, and this only causes problems for teams that are wanting to get across from Ferry Pier. Tempo Storm have now turned up. They'll be looking for boats. They'll be looking for an avenue of approach. Pokemolidor and the rest of Na'Vi, they're setting up on the other side of the bridge where they originally loot. The question is with Na'Vi, do they go deep on this, or do they maybe take a few scalps? There is potential. They don't do it at the start when they bloody well could. They could get some very easy points here. I'm seeing Bestaloch up on the lighthouse, which maybe he's feeding the information. We're looking further afield here. Athletico, again, this is Milta Power, looking for those boats that FaZe from a normal home position would take and then swing all the way down.
Has Na'Vi slowed down to check that vehicle? That's what I want to look at, is that bridge situation, because I wouldn't be surprised if that's the
over
case.
there. There's a lot of... Bestaloch is still on the opposing side. If he feeds that information to Na'Vi...
It could be.
They honestly could feed off of this. I'm seeing
I'm very
bit
curious
of an
about
engagement
that.
in the water. C9 on the opposing side, just where the farm cliffs are. Singularity have made it across in a boat. All 4 players in there, so they'll beach it and try and head for cover. C9 have to be careful here. The more pop shots they take, even to, I know you're desperate for
Does this
points.
just remind me of Ents in PEL, sat on those cliffs, popping off shots, always the last across. It just, it worries
Sometimes it
me.
didn't go the way, though, did it?
No, it almost never went
You're telling
that way.
everyone where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Prof is in the water swimming, I'm sure, which helps them, kind of covers him, I suppose. We shall see. We shall see. On your screen, Rumblers, Incognito, everybody else just on the steady and slow rotation.
Yeah, that eastern bridge is still pretty open. They don't know this yet. I think a lot of the teams who will head that way will be going late, so they might actually clash with each other, if anything. But you're going to see that, typically, I think we all know, because of the circle's positioning currently, is going to be the western side. A lot of these teams will opt for initially. And I think Steve's on the desk. We don't see 1-1-1s all that often. Liquid have been toying with them. They will consolidate. They will bring themselves back together. But they have toyed with it. And it has cost them, bear in mind. It's not something that they've gone away with constantly, but they have tried it.
When it works, and they win games. Oh, that's the first victim. Unfortunately, Malok does go down in the vehicle. MPL team Spacestation Gaming do see them, so Ghost lose 1. And this will be on the transition side, down through Milta Power again. People looking for vehicles, people looking for boats, people looking for some way to enter the circle. Incognito, Rumblers, they're all approaching that eastern bridge. We focused on the western side, but now everybody is just going to be vacuumed onto that bridge. And Athletico, lucky for the opposing teams, have gone to the south side of Sosnovka. So they're not going to be there, but that crossroads from Novo, up the way up from the bridge.
Yeah,
It's a nice little area to take now. It'll give you a decent amount of safety.
I mean, you're hoping, obviously, the circle goes a little east, right? That's the
If that
dream.
swing happens,
Go
then
up towards Radio Tower, you have a sick time, you're like, all right, we've gotten away with it, perfect.
happy days.
But more than likely, it will go down towards your FaZe G2 sort of area where Na'Vi is. I would like to say as well, Na'Vi's very dangerous when they play these circles. We saw more often than not when they do get across this bridge, they can do well, but they are under fire early from G2. And this is a different look from G2, so maybe not used to these positions. Chris going to remind a doozy that they're not having the same old luck as they used to. They're going to have to keep themselves on a swivel. Now on the way across, Ghost Gaming trying to pull up, maybe trying to avenge their fallen teammate of Balak, but for now, Incognito skirting past. There are other teams where they're kind of moving around Ghost Gaming. I don't see them getting any kills here.
We need to keep an eye on this bridge on the eastern side. Rumblers are sat there, and there's 3 teams approaching it. Hell yeah,
yes,
brother. Incognito, rock and roll. Here we go. They're all turning up.
No!
Not only does he batter one vehicle, it runs into him.
Oh, that's no good at all. Lost HD, what a disaster for him. That's gone as badly as you could imagine. Godspeed, next in line, the next one. Can he step up to the plate and look at Incognito? They're close, but they don't know how close. Nade in Waikikamu's hand, how close to FaZe. Fine for now, he holds steady, but he feels out on an island right now. The rest of his teammates are on the other side by Petrol Station, but they can't support. If they push this, Godspeed, he's in the middle of nowhere here. Nade's coming back and forth, he's spotted them both. Call to be made, and he better take this to perfection. This is his last nade, it better be good. Ronon's isn't bad, the follow-up didn't tag, but Ronon's going low ground. Godspeed,
Good read.
Seems aware, seems to hear it. Waiting patiently now. This has to be big. He's misread the angle. And there he goes. Godspeed outdone by the boys from down under, using that low ground to perfection. Now going to get a nice little upgrade loop, move up, kind of every single one of them step by step by step, moving forward. And hell yeah, brother, are just diverting. New circle has hit. Remind yourself of that, because Ghost Gaming are about to run the same route. Waikika still here. The Rumblers are still. Incognito are everywhere. This is a messy Eastern Bridge, and this is before the Knights turn up.
Yep, they're about to approach this one on the side of Milton. McCoy's there, so if he hears the vehicles, he'll be able to feed that information, but we still got a three-way here. I don't know how many players are going to be going across this bridge when all said and done. Shrimsy falls to Juxi on the backside outside the window. Remember, all this is going down in the blue. Time is ticking, health is ticking too. McCoy could be there for the support, but again, with the building that he holds, and all this, the blue just keeps on pushing. There's going to be so much. This is going to be really messy.
This is mutually assured destruction at this point for these teams. No one gets out of this nicely. Good nade there. That's Shrimsy gone.
That
now,
feeds the info, though.
It does.
The grenade.
It does. But the rest of Incognito are out of there. They've bailed out, and that's probably a good idea. You have to cut your losses and just move, because otherwise you're going to be in that mess for the entire time. Let's pop on board with that Toby eye tracking, see what they're up to. This is McCoy still in the blue, potentially trying to find that last player from Incognito. He knows maybe there's someone here, but he heard the cars go. So how much information does he have? Drassel, his teammate, just further ahead, but you can see him just kind of checking on everything around, keeping eye on the eye line as best he can, or excuse me, the kind of skyline. Anyone who tries to kind of appear over that ridge, he'd spot out. And Cloud9, we're waiting. It feels like they haven't turned up today, but we want to see more of them. And the Red Canids have been a little dangerous team, a little bit of a pocket pick, I can imagine, for some. Not bad at all, but they stand in their way so far. But G2 with a very ballsy 2-2 split.
Navi weren't expecting that. It does cost them one player. Red Canids under fire now from Cloud9. The engagement has been made. Psycho finds Nerf. That's a beautiful shot with the K9. 6 times on the back. Smokes are up, reses are there. Now the question is, do they make an advantage on this? Do they press the situation? I'm seeing grenades been cycled. M24 and Raspu as well, so and you can hear that silenced SLR. The range is with them. C9 don't have to push up over it. They're downwind of the situation, so let's see how this one goes. Speaking of disengaging from the fight, everyone's got the same idea as hell yeah, brother. They're actually on the cliffs. They can wait for all these teams turning up. You've got the Knights, we've got the Ghost Gaming. Still super, super messy. I think the Knights might, depending if they've got the health to do it.
Oh no, McCoy has no idea. Crush is right there. They've got to have heard that car pulling up as well, but Crush has been really, really patient, and that's a lot of blue kept in. We'll keep you up to date on that circle in just a second. This puts a lot of teams out of spot. Now, McCoy's pulled up. He has no idea there is still a team here. Zero clue. Gonna hear the steps as well, so he knows someone's nearby. Hell yeah, brother. Have 2 players on the other side as well. They're not that far from the circle. And speaking of, it's shifted quite far north. It's kept the bridge into play, a real rarity. We don't often see this. You see it moving away from water eventually and towards the land. So this could be a huge upset. Team Liquid truly out of position. They had a kind of 2-1-1 split. Greedy. And now it's still not paid off. Oh, Crush, look at this guy creeping up. He's hunting, dude.
He has to do it now. He was laid down before, which is going to be a difficult one if someone's on top of you. Been able to, you can't swing, you're going to get it up there. Sometimes you're going to be put away and basically useless. So lay down on the floor, it's more of a proning and hiding situation. You're not going to try and take a fight. The Knights still skirting. No engagement for them yet. Bridge will be clear, but they don't know that.
G2's in still such a very, very prime spot. Tempo Storm could move in towards Na'Vi, who are down to 3. That could be a very real factor.
I really like Rue. We'll hold for a second. Maybe finds contact to inside. That's blood out the back of the vehicle. But a response.
Just a little tap.
Hide.
They've managed to send this. This is Incognito, who are out on the eastern bridge, fighting out towards Milta. They've gone all the way around, and they've actually taken a decent enough spot, considering how much water or unavailable area is going to be in play. That's not bad. Now, FaZe going to move up towards the hillside. They've kind of been around this area for the vast majority of it, but they've seen Liquid. They know where they are. They may not know it's Liquid, but they're going to find out soon, I'm sure. Northern Bridge, or should I say now part of the Northern Bridge, the Western Bridge, is about to have some action. The Knights are there, but so are Ghost Gaming. They're pulling up as well.
Yeah, I think they're just scraping the bottom of the barrel here to see what they can potentially get a point or two. Reels, Drassel. There's no resuscitation possible. It all comes down to McCoy. Might be able to get into the circle, but I don't think he goes much further than this. I can see Drayden tracking him already on the map. If there's some sort of vehicle, either that or he just hits the water and hopes
Oh, look
For
out
the
on the
best.
Singularity. Spacestation
Different fight
Gaming.
altogether.
Yeah, there's a lot of fights going on.
The east, right?
Yeah, this is all the Eastern fight here. This is Singularity kind of on towards the hillside where you had Spacestation Gaming working their way through the military base. They're trying to get to the new circle. The last man of Incognito is trying to make it in. Now, Athletico were getting to the fight. They're a little bit more centralized. But let's look at the EU clash. It's going to be Liquid going towards FaZe, and FaZe hold the high ground. Uber, we saw what he did yesterday on Miramar. I'm a little scared of this man. He's got 3 nades, 1 kill. He's already got that taste of blood. And Team Liquid still need to find a way forward, and I think they might just cancel on this. That may not be the route they want. It looks like they're back in the vehicles and trying to find maybe a little bit of an avenue closer towards getting in.
This is a bit of a slow rotate from Liquid, in my opinion. They had all the time in the world, but they stayed in the 1-1-1 for so long, and now it's going to cost them. They're going to turn up to the party, and there's already teams here. There is absolutely no free ground whatsoever. They'll have to try and claw it back. Maybe they move to the hills and get lucky. If they catch one of the Na'Vi players off guard or off duty, then they find an entry point. James might...
sending this?
I think he's just trying to
How
find
has he
anything
done
because
this
there's
one?
nothing else there. This is the one compound that G2 opted not to take.
There we go. Gemty's gone down. I'm surprised Ibby and James have made it that far into one of the pretty more highly contested compounds. But now look at the third party. Tempo Storm has rolled up towards FaZe, and FaZe took their eyes off the prize for just 1 second, and Tempo wants in on the action. And I want to see that. I want to see Tempo Storm picking up, really starting to get into the action. Now Na'Vi's taking notice of this, and Tempo aren't in that new circle. You do see Hell Yeah Brother. This is out towards the northeast on the map, about to go past towards Rumblers. You have Singularity out there. The circle is about to move. Teams need to get moving as well. If you ain't in, you are not going forward. So many teams already in that circle now.
Athletico are happy for now. SSG is coming upon them, so they need to be very, very careful, but they can go for the 2-2 split. You don't want to get locked into Sosnovka military base because then it becomes extremely problematic trying to get yourself and evacuate that situation if the circle isn't kind. Hopping on board with Singularity. Panda finds one. Grenade up and over. This could be the end of Microfry. Where's the rest of his teammates? Waldo, I think, is the only one left because we saw the 2-2 go down earlier on across the bridge. Microfry gone. If they found Waldo, that's a GG and 2 NA teams going out in 15th and 16th. Remember, the blue ticks hard at this stage as well. Singularity, they've actually disengaged from the battle. They want to go further afield, and I'm completely okay with that. The Knights trapped on the bridge, still trying to make something happen. I'm very surprised they've kept all 4 alive, but let's not forget that these guys are going to be lacking meds. To survive this scenario, they've gone through the blue and back.
Oh, I thought K-Mine might have hit that little Car 98 shot there. He didn't. But someone who is getting shots towards him is FaZe, and Tempo Storm are right at the door. K-Mine there, going to be keeping track towards Reals, who's found a bit of cover, going to get that heal off. But I wonder how much trouble FaZe are in, because Waikikamuke and the rest of Incognito can see this. K-Mine out in the open. K-Mine, come on now, you can't get away with this sort of play. Profi now has to kind of pull himself into the action, try and play supporting factor. Na'Vi are bailing out FaZe Clan here. It looks like every other EU team has just turned and seen Tempo Storm trying to play towards FaZe. Senya has a good little bit of vision towards it. Athletico, in the meantime, have been absolutely dominating, getting a lot of kills here in that 2-2 split. That's pretty nice for them. But Tempo Storm have been tempered. They've been put back down as they tried to fall towards FaZe. They have none of the luck they wanted.
I mean, coming into this, Luke was top fragging in the entire competition. 14 kills to boot on his own. And for the simple fact that they're holding a 2-2 central map and backside of military base, it's just such covering fire. And they're doing so much damage to Singularity and SSG that have decided to, well, you know what, maybe we can take the Rust area. Well, you can't, because they have an eye line on that. They have line of sight, they have the scopes, they have the ability to talk between one another and lock it down. Waldo. Snake in the grass, does answer back.
Nice bit of revenge. Can he get the follow-up, though?
Hit it.
Oh, no, he's been third-partied. And you've got Spacestation Gaming down there as well. No. This is so rough. This is the eastern side. It felt inevitable. And it will be the Rumblers going down in 15th from 0 to 0 in this one, but there's still time yet for them. Now, let's keep our eyes back and our mind back towards that Tempo Storm issue that's been going on. These guys have been picked apart from several fronts. And there's a little bit of a northern shift from the circle. G2 still primed. Red Canids still primed. We do see, it looks like, hell yeah, brother, trying to move towards the east.
G2 still being stationary. Vasily goes down with a grenade. We hop on board with this fight. There is an answer back as well. Charlie falls, so does Chung. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, actually, yeah, Charlie's been finished. It comes down to Crush.
The Knights are pushing Na'Vi as well. Hold on, this is all going crazy in the west as well. We have Na'Vi trying to make a play towards Tempo, and then suddenly the Knights turned up. FaZe FaZe still in this one, trying to get in towards Tempo Storm, who were trying to pick away at them for so long. But now Liquid's in FaZe, and you can see Pokemolodoy just enjoying laying those bullets in towards Tempo Storm, getting some points on the board. But it is only Pokemolodoy. They had 3 alive not too long ago. Now it's down to just 1. And this has been the fold in the West. That's been the Knights shifting away from the bridge, ignoring Cloud9 and moving further down south.
SSG's gone during that transitional phase. Pokemolodoy, last man standing for his roster. Smokes go down for Bitloft. They try and advance here. H-Win in the distance, spots a sneaky player up on side of the hill. He is on his own. The rest of Cloud9, they've opted to try and move towards the Knights. The Knights have got free reign of this hill. Tempo Storm's gone. Unfortunately for them, they were split for the wins. FaZe Clan.
Mexi's crushing.
This is where Liquid went earlier on. They've just seen someone go down. Maybe they get in here.
Mexi is just going to send this as well. He's going to be heading straight towards the rest of Team Liquid, the 2 players standing. There's a 5 coming in right now. Mexi is so close to this, just over the way. Ibby's heard that car. He knows there's something up, and Mexi's putting nades down. He must know that they're here. They've been fighting out this compound for so long. Ibby on the run, and we know what Ibby's like. He will love a push. He'll get in here. Oh, he's not even caught out. He turns around. Mexi goes down. Liquid hold the compound.
There's a certain time where you have to say that's how you do it. Throw a grenade in. Even if you don't want to go for the kill with the nade, you move with the noise, the distraction of it. They push through as a team, and the barrage continues. Jimbo finds the second one through the window. The SKS is gone. Ronan, see you later, buddy. He's out of this one. Athletico, though, while all this has been going down, these boys have been collecting kills and controlling the southern side of the circle.
And so has Incognito. These 2 teams have been racking up bodies the entire way. You can't take it away from them. Incognito have been kind of down and out, it felt like, out on the east, but they've turned that one back around. But they are going to face off potentially against their own kind. You have Athletico just towards the east, but now Team Liquid have caught a glimpse, and all they have are these smokes and maybe a prayer. Nice answer back from Waikika, but it might be too little too late, as Ibby's done enough to take him down, to leave him in pieces. They tried to adjust to the other side, and Athletico welcomed them with open arms. They went in. Look how aggressive they are. Extremes on the push. These guys want the points. They've got so many kills already, 4 sitting here, and this is Waikika doing everything he can for his teammates, looking at that hillside as best he can try and catch a glimpse of the tiniest pixel out of place. And I think he's caught a glimpse of one, but it's too little as it all falls down for Incognito. They held on well, but it will be Athletico to claim that one.
Fantastic job for them. Just wipe out the southern side of the circle. Now they control the edge of the white. There's only 1 player left standing in front of them, really, if we talk about this side of their area, and that's going to be Pommy. In fact, he's gone, excuse me. As soon as I say that, bang. See you later.
At G2, Rich. They're trying to push out of this compound.
They're going to stop.
Chris, look at Chris. They're setting up for Liquid.
They're locking it
They've
down.
set it up. That is so smart from Chris. Whoever called that from G2, I don't know what the read was. Maybe just seeing those smokes. They're like, all right, that's the play they're going to go for. They set up perfectly. It's just down to Jeems now. Left. All on his lonesome.
He has no gear as well. He's had his helmet removed. He's had his chest removed. He's on his 3rd knock, I believe. What can he really do? He either runs into Athletico or runs into G2. Regardless, it's going to be a point for one of these teams. That's a bullet to the side of the head. Vehicle goes up. Liquid goes down. 6th position for them. Couple of kills in the bag, but certainly got higher than FaZe Clan. And that's who were dinking them in the back early on.
And here we go. It's looking like this could be a big G2 game. Their adjustment to go to the Millie Island, their positioning to start with was all looking good, but there's still teams alive. There's still 5 teams standing here. G2 being 1, but Cloud9 in all kinds of trouble. In a world of doom here, you can see Drade and Love in that one. Profi's been picked up comfortably. Cloud9 down to 3, only 1 kill. They've been struggling in the north, and the Knights look vicious. Look at them pushing this. They're over the main road. They're trying to add that pressure. They want Cloud9 dead. K-Mine has slowed down Snark at least. Moving in between the smokes, he exposed himself and gets picked up. You can't take him lightly, but I've got to say, Cloud9 are digging their heels in here.
Crossfire extreme straight from the side. I think it's down to Wanted.
Athletico joined in. That's real squad.
Yeah.
It is just Wanted. They open themselves up to too many angles and they go down. Wiped out in the end. Cloud9, I think they've just realized they're safe for a second, but now here comes the next challenger.
I honestly don't think it were too bad to be able to get to that stage when you were playing off the black of the blue and having no meds whatsoever. It's a valiant effort, but that's going to be the end. 5th position, it's better than some of the teams so far, so fair play. Cloud9 do lose 1. Red Canids, again, a team that has been consistent so far in this competition. It's a 3-on-3 for the northern edge of the circle, all the way down south. You're going to have the 4 versus 4. G2 have just been gifted a crate. It will land on top of Brexico's head.
You are a lucky boy. 1 bullet, I'm pretty sure, would have done the job. K-Mind. Unfortunate there for him. Barely anything to play with on that SPS. 7 spare, so hopefully someone can maybe drop him a couple to play with. Now, Athletico definitely know where G2 are. I'm pretty sure Cloud9 know where they are. So I think we kind of have this 4-team split here, but you've got to say, obviously, G2 do hold the cards until they have to leave the compound, but they have rarely had to use their utility. So you'll imagine they have a lot. H-Win's got an angle, but he can't commit to it. The circle moves slightly away from G2 here. It does leave some of the compound in. They can transition. Does Cloud9 try to choose to maybe punish them crossing or focus on the red Canids right in front of them?
I love this. We're essentially just going into a huge open ball area. This is where you need your marksman to really step it up. If there's a couple of players on the roster that are going to be rocking a K9 or an M24, they're going to be laughing, but you can see the DMR meta in full effect. SKS, Mini, SLR. Everyone just putting these DMRs to full boot. I do see a 24 still on Raspu in the back. He has hit the world before, and I'm sure he can do it again, and this is the perfect time that you need to be landing those shots. You need to find that face.
This is nice info, though, for Red Canids. They're finding out a great deal here. They know where Cloud9 are. They know where Athletico are. Athletico still have a vehicle, though. They could play with that. Yes, it is only a buggy, but you can at least send people up on the safety of the eastern side. I don't think G2 can see that because it is in that deflate and that bigger dip. Wait, Extreme is really pushing up here. He's really trying to get ground for his team.
So is Odia.
And yeah, we're seeing G2 sending this as well. Cloud9 need to be prepared because Andy FPS is about to clash with K-Mind. That is some very big firepower and getting very close to each other. And Athletico have an angle on it too. So the Red Canids are in a bit of danger now.
C9 have put the smoke wall up. This will disallow the line of sight for G2 as they work their way up the hill. But the pressure's on. Here comes the engagement. First nades are out. The damage will be done. It falls back up to K-Mind. Rusty Zera does find it. There is a response there. If they get the knock, they have to push. I think they have to.
Yeah, here we go. Does get the spot, but Nerf is too quick on the trigger and manages to deliver those shots so well. And now Cloud9 is suffering off the back of it. H-Win tried to provide Overwatch, tried to provide that cover from afar, but it doesn't matter. They get destroyed by the Red Canids. Look at this. That is huge play from them. Held their ground, but look at Athletico. These guys are vicious. They pushed up so early on, leaving Zoidmate and Luke further back to keep control of potentially G2, but they've been turned on. Flood goes down. Bresco says hello. Welcome to the big leagues. You don't get away with that here.
He didn't check his corner. A quick smoke or a watch from an angle to deny that from G2, like C9 tried to do, would have stopped the death. Is he going for a res here? Surely not. Extreme just sees the body call out, but they have to be aware of G2. Brexco is still overstepping his boundary. And he's in such a good position now that G2 can rally the troops, get together.
From low to high. There it is!
You said it! Oh my God!
It's the perfect angle. It's the Valley of Death. They can't see it. And now his perfect vision towards the rest of Athletico. Now, Andy FPS does go down. We're down to just 2 teams, but G2's looking pretty darn deadly. Zoidmate better put in a god-tier performance now. 11 kills. It's big work from them. Brexico, though, just spraying away. Zoidmate is down to a slither of health. The nade.
Incoming.
Oh my word, it's good! Brexico! Signed, sealed, and delivered right into the pocket of Zoidmate, leaving the weight of the world on Extreme's shoulders. Can he do the unthinkable, or will this be finally the game we expected from EU's representation here in G2?
We've been looking for the big performance on the main stage. They've missed out in past and previous events. But now it's time to shine in sunny Sweden. Extreme, 4 versus 1. It's an extreme scenario. We've seen weird, wild, and more wonderful things, but I think Chris wants to put this one in the grave and hand done with it. Extreme actually might deny the points. It looks like he's going to the blue. Stop G2 getting any more, and that's going to be it. The Germans, they pick up the first win of day number 2 here in Stockholm.
Huge result there for G2. They definitely needed that. After day 1, looking pretty lackluster, if I'm honest. They did not impress me like I was expecting them to, but bear in mind they hadn't been at these international events before. They'd always fallen just short, be it by literally 1 point. Now it's their time. Now they found that comfort, but again, they read that play and they read that circle instantly. That little bait on the car, Liquid didn't care. They've seen that trickery before, but they had such prime position and they never faltered.
The nades from Brexco is just insanity. Been able to time them to such perfection where you know the angle where it will drop. Because when you go in at that distance as well, necessarily you won't cook them. You won't pull the pin. You'll let the timing do the job. Go for the long ball. And back to back he finds and just smashes them to pieces. And remember, for G2, there's a lot more on the line here. This gives a telling story to potentially how they'll perform on an international stage in Korea. This is a full squadron. There is so much, in my opinion, there's a lot of pressure on them going to the Nations Cup.
I agree. You get to have your full roster.
It's a pro roster.
And now the question is, we've had G2 now claim a win. We've had Liquid claim a win. We had Na'Vi claim a win. FaZe, where you at? I know it's not Sunday yet, but I need to see more from them.
They kind of let that slip a little bit. When we look towards what Liquid did, they sat for a while in a 1-1-1-1 scenario. Yep. They were slow to go to the compound. It kind of worked. FaZe, they then got mashed in that whole Western mess up.
Can I just take a second to, again, thoroughly enjoy what Athletico are bringing?
Yeah.
These guys,
Good
you know,
luck with
I
PUBG,
think
right?
it was very hard to kind of look past the fact that, yes, you do well in your very specific region that we don't get to see as often. Does it translate to an international stage? The Frag Power does. I don't think they'll be able to close out those final circles as clinically as some of the EU or potentially NA teams, but what they can do leading up there has been exceptional, so you can't take it away from them in any means. To take on G2 at the end, G2 are in such a good position. I don't think they stood a chance.
I like the fact that Luke, what we've seen online, what we've seen through qualification, he's bringing to the main stage. He was the one guy we said, yes, needs to do some work here, and the lad's doing it.
He certainly is. One of the men who were doing it in the last game was Brexco. That nade was just god tier, absolute filth from him, but I think he'll be down on the stage with Rachel, and maybe Udyr as well.
Thank you so much, guys. True story. I've got both Brexco and Udyr here, and both of you have different things to shout out worthy in this match. Udyr, you had a couple moments. You're pushing out bold and alone, making those vanguard positioning choices for your team. So tell me, why is it you, and what do you do in those situations?
Well, it's just to take over the map, take over like the areas, get like more room, and yeah.
But why you?
It's not only me, like everybody does it. Like, it's just who's in a better position right now, who has the car, who has the better vehicle, yeah.
We did a great job taking position today. Brexco, we're talking about great things in-game, solid hits on the grenades. Talk to me a little bit about your grenade philosophy.
Nade made us just broken right now, so it was kinda easy. So we just had like the rear circle in the end because of 2 nades, so easy.
And accuracy is a part of that as well. Gotta shout you out for that. Also, the planning that you brought into the map. Early on, we saw you come down the western bridge there from Military Island. You actually flipped over a car. Talk to me through the decision-making there. Why did you do that? What did you hope to achieve?
Well, we put the car on the bridge to make like chaos, trouble for the other teams. Like our plan was that Liquid is like kind of get afraid and get stuck on the bridge with Na'Vi, and just like to fight them each other, and yeah.
Do you thrive in chaos?
Maybe.
Well, you certainly did in this game. Congratulations to you. The last question I have is, you are on the stage here in an international event. The competition has changed and the opponents are unpredictable. So if you're a team that thrives in chaos, how are you feeling about the rest of the weekend?
We are feeling good. I think we have good chances to bring everything home here. So yeah, it was needed win for us and our confidence, so I guess we're just starting now.
Anything you'd like to add?
No, not really.
Well, thank you both so much for the insights. We look forward to lots more games for today, but for now, let's take a look back at that last one.
Yes, we shall. We'll get the wise words and thoughts from Steve and Patrick. Congratulations to G2. There we go, getting that first place and a bunch of kills, but also big shout out to Athletico. They did a brilliant job in that first match of the day.
I mean, we love seeing G2 do that. There's a reason we chose to feature them sort of before we started today, is like you said, Patrick, team to watch. These guys are on the comeuppance and they come out and they made some great plays.
Yeah, we actually spoke quite a bit about G2 in that pre-game segment, which is good for us, you know, right, Patrick?
Who should we speak about next?
Oh, my God. Let me look into my crystal ball. It's under the desk here. Yeah.
But I think, like, for instance, the Jeep, right? This idea that they turned a Jeep sideways on the bridge to just cause chaos. And that's the kind of thing I like to see out of teams, is them realizing that at this level, you sort of have to, it's the small things that make a difference, right? Well, unfortunately for Liquid, it had no impact, though.
Exactly. Well, it comes down to a 96 games in PL with a lot of middle circles. They know that Liquid crossed the West Bridge early. They know that Na'Vi doesn't do anything about it. So, hey, At least they tried.
Yeah.
At least they tried. It was a nice try.
Liquid showed some big cojones. They drove right past. They didn't even slow down. Like, I thought for sure they'd at least slow down and check the bridge out, but they were confident that it was safe in their rotation time, and they passed. And you know, I will say this, G2 did get gifted a really nice crate right there at the end. It's a tier 3 helmet and vest. Like, I can't outline enough to you how important or how valuable tier 3 gear at that stage of the game is, because it means you have a scout who can go out and take a lot of risks, and I think that they benefited from that.
Yeah, the PUBG gods were certainly shining down upon them at the very end. Before we do a bit more analysis and take a look at the standings, let's head downstairs to our local PUBG weatherman, Toby.
Thank you, Paula. Starting off day 2 with a Millie game, and before we even get to that, a rough plane as well. We've talked about how eastern these teams are, and if we look at this right here, I draw it up for you. The white thing here is the line, and then the markers here are teams that are landing in areas that honestly they normally wouldn't. We have got Knights, they're going Sarky. We got Inside Games, we got Incognito, they are going up north, George. We got Ghost, they're looting Stalpa, Kameski, and we got FaZe down in Primorsk. So to start things off already completely shaken up, and then right off the bat of that, boom, we sent them all down into military base. And funny thing, little fact to it, Rumblers, they had that one game with a little gut feeling. They went military, won it. This time around, G2, they're the ones, they're already down there. And if we zoom things in a bit, because teams, well, they do start making their way down into that area of the map. We'll get a little zoom thing going. With the next circle popping, that is where things start getting tricky. We have so many teams coming in from the western side that honestly, well, normally they wouldn't play this area of the map, meaning if you look at the combination of teams going down and we draw a line straight through the middle, everyone is already west. It's such a big kind of pull off over to this side, and the guys that are trying to finally come over on the eastern side, which they didn't even get to loot, it becomes one hell of a cluster up here on the top. We see it right there in Milta. So many teams trying to find that crossover. They're all saying, well, everyone lands west. If we go east, we get a freebie. Nope, not when everyone does the same thing. So, well, for the team that finally do make it down towards the island, with this shift, things don't get easy. We have an area that's practically unplayable in this map, at least early on in the game. If we draw it up right here, this area is a big downhill, and we can get an overview of it as well as we speak on our screens. A little in-game feature. There you go. I hope. We'll get to that in a moment. I think there you go. You see the picture right there. It's a huge hill, and the only way you can play this hill is if you have one of the sides of it free. If you're sitting on the northern side, you can push up to it, you can hold the control because you know no one's going to shoot you in the back. When it's so open, it's so exposed, it's extremely hard to play from if you're trying to peek at teams while getting shot in the back. So no one can claim that until the very late stages of the game, and the team that actually does that is Athletico. We'll look into that a little more as we zoom in, go further on into the game. Everything commences, things get chaotic as the circle shifts away from the water. And we know with open areas, I mean, there's something to it, right? We're talking about the nade meta, we're talking about the utility meta. And Knights, well, I mean, fortunately, they came in late, they crossed late, they hadn't had to use those smokes yet. They got a need for them, though, because as we take a look at this next clip, that's exactly how it unfolded. Look at the amount of smokes they're pulling off. We're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 smokes, and they don't even have their pathing crossed opened yet. I mean, they still have a way to go with 9 smokes thrown, honestly, in a pretty good line. It can be a hard thing to do, but they're nailing it. They're doing a good job at it right there. Difficult thing to do, they get it done. Unfortunately, the crossing becomes difficult nonetheless. In the end of things, big kudos to the Athletico guys. People, they always have kind of the thought that, well, I mean, the newer regions, the Oceanians, the Latin Americans, they don't dare. They're maybe playing a little more passive. In this case, nope, not at all. We see it right off the bat. As soon as they realize the guys are fighting north, Extreme sends it up, full speed forward, goes up, takes center control. This is moves we only normally see from teams that really are daring and aggressive. They are right there, and that's one of the reasons that these guys are up the leaderboards already. Extreme, aggressive player. Gets the help from his teammate, I believe it's Flood. Yep, comes up to help him as well. And then, of course, they have Luke, the current top fragger in the game, and in the tournament, sitting on the backside doing all the damage needed. So kudos to the guys. Great game to start off the day. Looking forward for more.
Thank you, Toby. Yeah, Athletico, in those final moments, they took really strong affirmative action. I think at that point, Luke 12 was already on about 5 kills, and so he's really pushing his weight around on the server.
I mean, I think with that play and the way that it sort of handled that outlines is that Luke 12 is strong because of the fact that his team is supportive, right? Extreme was willing to take the risk to make the push. And as he does that, heads pop out to try to shoot him. Luke 12 is playing that defensive role and able to take people out. So they work well as a unit. And I think part of that is this is a team that has been together a long time. Sure, Extreme did his tour in the NPL, but this was the team he played with before he went there. He's played with these guys. They've played together sort of since day one, and he goes back in and folds in very evenly. So this team is impressive to me. They still racked up 11 kills with their second place finish. And honestly, that deny is one of those things where, like, when you're watching it at the end of the game, it kind of, there's a disappointment of like, oh, they're not going to fight it out. But we've seen a lot of tournaments decided by 1 or 2 points, and you got to respect that he said, I'm going to take this point off the board. That way, when it's close later, we're in a better position.
With those 11 kills, though, that pushes them up to 43 kills in total right now. And the only 2 teams that are close to that is Liquid and FaZe with 36. So they're leading with 7 kills right now. That's pretty amazing to see from a team like Athletico, not having too much of international experience coming in here and kind of dominating, honestly.
Yeah, they have, what's that on average, 1 extra kill per match so far, since we are 7 games down. Now, everybody, let's get up the scoreboard from that match and then look at the leaderboard, the overall leaderboard afterwards. Steve,
so
anything you want to point out?
Yeah, I want to point out that when we talked about the start of today, it was maximize on the failures of the teams on the top, and that's exactly what happened in this match. If you look at the top half of that leaderboard, we're talking 6 through 1. These are all teams that needed to have big games. We said G2's got to come out blazing. Athletico is the only one up there who was a top 5 team that did well. The rest of the leaders, Liquid, FaZe, Na'Vi, Rumblers, these guys all had really not great games. Liquid barely made it to the points. They only got 3 kills. So what this will do is it's going to blow that overall leaderboard wide open and be a big boost for teams like G2 and Canids.
I mean, let's be honest, Team Liquid has been playing a phenomenal game so far. They've been averaging a good amount of points per game, and coming in with 5 points is not too bad. Look, they're still in the top here. Here's the overall leaderboard.
Athletico improving to 2nd place, and G2 moving up a massive 4 places into 4th. And that point gap between 1st and, let's say, 5th to 7th is really starting to diminish slightly, as you were saying, Steve.
It's the board is way open. Athletico up to 2nd is going to be very happy for them. But of course, that's one game. We've got 5 more to play today. So obviously the shifts are there. But G2 now moving into 4th place. They played out of their mind in that game. But again, they got that win because of a smart early rotation. And then from there, all they had to do was sort of bristle up and defend their spot. And you can't count on that every single game, right? Some games you got to work for it, but I also want to give a shout out to Cloud9. Those guys had a much better game than they've had the entire tournament so far. They almost matched their entire tournament total so far in one game. I think it was like 3 short, but that's good. That's a good start to day 2.
Well, one of the big factors for a previous game we had here was it was a mill game.
Yeah.
Once again, we had one yesterday. It wasn't the same kind of circle though, but that puts the teams a little bit on the edge here because they need to adapt quickly and know what to do. You saw some teams dropping towards Stallberg, Sarki, etc. Like, that's really rough when it's a mill circle.
And I think some of those northern teams ran into a really interesting trouble spot. If you watched what happened in Milta, where sort of everyone ran into each other, that was a long way from the plane path. So what happened is all the northern teams said, you know what, Milta's far from the plane, no one's over by Mansion, that's a safe rotation. The problem was all 4 of the teams who had to make long rotations thought the same way. You saw Hell Yeah Brother make that rotation late, and they got there and were like, wow, unexpected fight, and they went back the other way because the Na'Vi bridge was completely empty. So everyone tried to play the intellectual cerebral game, but got stuck playing the same 200 IQ game with the other teams who were doing it too.
Too many 200 IQs going at each other. Thank you guys for your analysis, much appreciated. Everybody, day 2 is now officially underway. We've done our first match of the day. We have 2 more on Erangel to go, and then 3 on Miramar to close out the second half. Thank you for joining us. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back with match 2 after this short break.